It's nice to be back in the land where everybody's like, let's get a drink when you don't have anything to do. Because we've been traveling around the world and people have different ideas about drinking. But back in familiar territory, which is the exact same as Ireland, if you don't know what to do, or if you're trying to even decide what the next thing you're gonna do is, what you do to fill that decision-making period is have a drink. Because if you go have a drink, usually everything else falls into place. Or like everything falls apart, but one or the other.
I'm Thomas.
I'm Tim, and we're traveling around the world from city to city.
For each city we visit, we make contact with a local, a complete stranger to us, but someone who loves their city and wants to share that with us.
We're on a mission to find out what cities mean to the people who live in them.
It's a show about
People,
cities,
traveling,
culture,
food,
day life,
music,
nightlife,
and everything in between.
This is my city.
The city, that's where we belong.
What day is it?
Wednesday?
It's Wednesday. Yesterday we were in Japan in the winter. Today we're in Australia in the summer. It's a little bit disorientating, this traveling around the world business.
We've been traveling for 9 weeks, and this is the first English-speaking country we've been to, and it almost feels like we're home a little bit.
Thank you. Enjoy your stay.
Cheers, thanks a lot.
Everyone I've ever met in my life from Australia has been fun. They've always been really outgoing, really sweet, and so that's why I was always excited to come here.
I would never seek out Australia as a destination personally. It feels a bit like America without the grit or romance. I'm looking forward to being surprised by it. We are about to meet our host, Beci Orpin. She's a designer and an artist, and she's got 2 kids, 2 boys. Yeah, there was a lot of back and forth because we're reluctant to grow up and profile older people who've got family and responsibilities because we want to put that off for as long as possible. I reckon she's got a bit of a naughty side as well, and I bet she's going to end up drinking with us and having a laugh. I'm actually really excited for this weekend. I think it's going to be great. We're going to play some cricket. We're going to see some flying foxes. We're going to see a bunch of art shows. We're going to go out and drink a lot. And I think she's going to introduce us to a lot of artists and musicians and people who are making things happen in Melbourne.
Friday we started out, Amanda picked us up.
Amanda's an old friend of hers from design school days.
Amanda tagged along with us for most of the weekend, but you might not be able to tell because she was the most camera-shy person I've ever met in my entire life.
Anytime the camera was pointed at her, she would like put something in front of her face or like dodge out of frame or like run away. It was ridiculous. So she's like completely camera shy and like hanging with us 2 guys with cameras for the whole weekend.
Amanda took us to Beci's studio, which was up in Brunswick. She has her studio in her home. It's perfect for her because she can work and do her family things at the same time. But she has a really nice space, tons of little trinkets. You can tell that she has a designer's mind because there's just things everywhere. Basically what Beci was going to do was just introduce us to tons of people. She knows heaps of artists, and we started out by going to meet her friend Max. He has his own jeans label. It's called Note to Self.
Thomas has a love for jeans.
I do. Oh, really? And you also have very long legs.
I was quite excited about this because I think if you're tall and of weird shape, you generally want to have custom made everything. So I was definitely going to take this opportunity to get some custom jeans made and also see how this guy works. He measured me up and I'm now wearing my custom pair of Note to Self jeans. So after Max's studio, we went for coffee.
We're at Seven Seeds, which is my favourite cafe in Melbourne. We do the best coffee in the world. And we've come to do a coffee tasting, aka cupping.
And what's your friend's name?
Mark. Mark runs the place.
He put this little coffee tasting on for us. I was like, oh, coffee tasting. You just go in, you get a little sip of all these different coffees. It was not like that at all. Basically, there's this huge process.
10 or 12 cups of beans.
You just kind of smell all the beans.
You add water and then you smell that.
And it sits, and then you mix it up and smell it again.
You take off the layer of coffee scum.
You slurp it, swish around your mouth and spit it out. That's a coffee tasting. These were like coffee scientists. They had huge ass machines hooked up to super fancy iMacs. This is seriously like coffee engineering. This is ridiculous.
I think the coffee scene is really starting to, blossom in Melbourne. Like there's a fairly hardcore community that really enjoy coffee and things like that.
It really woke us up. We were about buzzing. I felt like fresh and ready to do anything, like climb a mountain.
How do you feel after that coffee tasting?
Great.
I feel like more awake than I felt in maybe 3 weeks.
Woo!
So then we went to the Victoria Market. It's a flea market and then a farmer's market with fresh produce. Then they had an indoor market where you can get all the sort of meats and tons of cheeses and things like that.
Rabbits and kangaroos. And they saw crocodile and emu.
Yeah, it was packed full of people. There were people getting tours. But we just experienced the coffee culture, and the food culture is really developed in Melbourne. They're really serious about gourmet food there and what they eat. We bought some mangoes and oysters. Actually, some of the best food we had in Melbourne was courtesy of Beci Orpin.
This girl's got class.
So then we went to Becky's house. You and I sat out and got some sun, and she made us some apéro and soda. She also made us some sandwiches.
She definitely took care of us. We were a bit like two big kids who were always hungover and hungry.
Oysters.
The busyness of Becky's life was pretty astounding, and all the things that she was doing while hosting us for the weekend. She's a well-established and really respected graphic designer, textile designer.
We run a kids' clothing line called Tiny Mammoth, and then I've just launched a new line of accessories, homewares and stationery under my own name. And then I also do art shows.
She's really hardworking and she's really, really good at what she does. It is interesting to have your business and your house and family mixed in that way, and it allows her to have more freedom in a way.
What's it like having the home office?
It can really...
Hey you.
Thanks, sorry.
I got poo.
Okay, I was going to taste it.
That afternoon, we finally met Becky's husband, Raf.
Raf does all the things that keep the business running. He does everything. All I do is draw pictures. And if it wasn't for Raf, there would be no business.
He was coming with us that evening to go to this group exhibition that Becky had a piece of art in.
We're going to this show called Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. It's a group show, and I've got a piece in it.
And what's the show for?
It's to raise money for youth cancer. We donate an artwork, and anything that's sold on the night gets donated.
It was a cool event, and we mixed and mingled and checked out the art, but we were in a bit of a rush, so we didn't stay long.
You know me, I don't like spending too much time in art galleries, so I was like, yeah, let's go.
We had something to do, which we were looking forward to, because she said she was going to take us to see the flying fox bats at dusk.
On the way to the bats, we had to pick up some Jack Daniels because...
You gotta have whiskey when you're going bat watching.
Yeah, if you're gonna watch the bats, you gotta have something.
The bats were in this suburb called Studley Park.
Oh, they're gonna come. They're flying east to get the fruit. We're gonna intercept.
We got there just as they were like filling the sky, coming up from the river valley. And it was really cool looking.
And at first it just looked like birds, and then when you actually watch one go over your head and you see its wings spread out, you realize like, dude, that is a bat and it's big. Something that Becky really likes, because she really likes animals, and she gets inspired by animals in her designs and stuff, so that's something that was very special to her and unique to that city.
I definitely had apocalyptic visions. After the bats, we went out on the town.
Friday night, it's Melbourne. We're about to party like we haven't partied in a long time. Actually, we partied like this last weekend.
We went to the Toff, and it was already mental when we got there.
People in Melbourne, they party. They're not just drunk, they're f***ed up. It's a drinking culture, drugs flow freely.
From there, we went on to the Carlton.
It's 1 a.m. We're going somewhere else.
I don't know, the night was just a bit of a blur.
I'm pretty wrecked. I gotta say, I'm pretty wrecked. I'm trying real hard to keep it together. He was the whiskey man.
It was a good night. Becky was like totally opening up to us.
Mom finally went home at 3 in the morning after staying out with us all night. And that was our introduction to the party scene in Melbourne. Saturday, I woke up really hungover. It was the most hungover I've been since Beijing.
What? The plan for Saturday was a barbecue at Becky's house. Barbecues are quintessentially Australian. It's one of the kind of stereotypes that you hear about Australia, but they take it seriously here.
A bunch of their other friends who had families were coming over. Raph knows how to barbecue. He has this thing he calls the Big Green Egg, which is his grill.
Where'd you get it from?
Got this from the States actually, brought it in.
Wow, really?
Becky has a really comfortable home. Kids can have a great time, adults can have a great time. She's really nice. She did a lot of cooking and entertaining, and she's really phenomenal at it. You can tell she's an excellent parent. You know, she's got it down. Multitasking, she's got it done, and she's good at all of it. When you have a hangover, it's nice to just sort of relax and sit outside and have conversation, break up some kid fights, drink some Pims, and eat some sausages. It's like being part of a family. We've been living out of a suitcase for 9 weeks now. That does a certain thing to you when you just have no family, you have no home. So then when you get injected into a family that has a great home, you just take to it real quick.
After the barbecue, we went back to our place and we wanted to do a little power nap because we were feeling a bit rough. And we were going clubbing that night to Revolver.
We're on our own because Becky is minding the kids tonight. She's let us loose on the town
And she's recommended Revolver, yeah?
She's recommended Revolver, and we're going to cause some trouble.
A lot of people had talked about it, and everyone we met knew of it. It was a real Melbourne institution. It's unique because it's open from Saturday afternoon till Monday at 3 a.m.
We knew what we were getting into because Becky had worked there for 10 years. And Raph's brother, Rudin, managed the place. And as soon as we got there, we started talking to him. He's like, I can't believe you guys are here right now. This is 2 in the morning. He's like, you guys are so early. He's like, this really doesn't get going until about like 10 in the morning. 10 in the morning the next day. This is 2 in the morning right now. I was like, oh man, maybe we should go home at like 4 because we got a big day tomorrow.
You were a little bit reluctant.
As always.
But it twisted your arm.
As always.
The drug culture is something that I just sort of skipped. I just avoided it my whole life. So I was never at a club that stays open 24 hours. For me, I kept asking, when do you leave a party that never ends?
I definitely am familiar with the 24-hour party people vibe. It's a bit ridiculous, but it's great fun because you just get to talk to like a ton of people and talk a lot of and go on like mad nighttime adventures.
We were there for 6 hours, so we obviously chatted up tons of people. We had tons of drinks.
It's 8 in the morning, man.
The night there was great. It was pretty funny. At about 7, they opened the curtains in this one room, and people left that room quickly.
There's another party in the other room.
It was wild to me. I'd never seen anything like that. Pretty interesting to see that exist, and exist in a sort of safe manner, you know?
8 a.m. we decided to call it a night and go home and get a couple of hours sleep.
It was good fun, man. It was great fun. I could not ever imagine doing that on a regular basis.
As we were going home, I think in the taxi, I called Becky, who was up with the kids, and said like, yeah, we're still awake. And she's like, oh, Jesus. So Sunday, I guess we got up pretty late. We got up at like 1.
What are you doing? You're laying in bed. You're not getting up at all.
Raph and Becky were nearby. Becky wanted to take us to visit a friend of theirs, Brendan, who's also an artist. Yeah, he was a really nice character. Super welcoming, made us tea, was a little bit jittery, but like really, really sweet.
I probably should have stuff here to show you, but I don't.
He had some of his artworks around. He makes like jewelry and like ceramics, and he has this character, like this kind of mask that is one of his dominant themes, and the artwork of his that Becky had also had this mask figure.
I really liked him. He was a really, really, really nice guy. He also was in a band called Eddie Current Suppression Ring, which is an awesome band name.
Is that the first gig on the tour?
Are you touring as well?
Yeah, we go up to Sydney on Thursday.
We're going to Sydney on Wednesday.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You should come. Thanks.
After Brendan's, we went to take down their exhibition.
Packing up my show that I just had last week.
She sold all but 3 things, I think.
One of them had like 7 red dots next to it, which is good news.
You know, they're busy people, they're business people, and they're family people, so they don't take their time with things. They do it as efficiently as possible. So we went in there, we took the stuff down, and we took off. For me and you, that's when our hangovers were really starting to be like, whoa, all right, really, we gotta do something about this.
What do you need right now?
I need a pint of Guinness.
The plan was to go on a bit of a pub crawl in Fitzroy. The first stop was Grace Darling, and we had a couple of pints there.
The place turns into like a vintage clothing shop once a month. This is definitely the hipster part of town.
I went into this pub, came out with a jacket. Becky had to go take care of the kids, so she was handing us off to her employee Leah and Leah's friends Alex and Dr. J. Now we're going to do a barbecue. Another barbecue. Is that all they do here, barbecue?
So we hopped in Dr. J's van and went down to the Victoria Hotel. Victoria Hotel was sweet. It was this huge bar with a huge back area. And Leah and Alex were really good friends, and they had the worst nickname for themselves. They called themselves the Double L Burger.
It was basically like a reference to what trouble they are when they get together, I think.
We kind of chummed up with the Double L Burger and hung out with those girls. I don't know if it's because of them or because of the trip. It's been Thomas and I hanging out for 9 straight weeks together, and you don't have your friends anymore, so you gotta like instantly make friends. You know, we hadn't slept in days, and all we've been doing is drinking the whole weekend. So why not just drink? Just keep it going. Why change the system? It ended up creating this amazing sort of goofiness. It's the middle of the day, and you're just hanging out with people, and you're just having a ball. From the barbecues that I'm used to, there's one grill master, and that's the way it is. You have one person that mans the grill. No, is that not how you're used to it?
No, go for it.
I'm gonna explain this, man. There was at least 6 people flipping stuff at one point. And they're flipping stuff that doesn't need to be flipped. They're just like, let's flip it, let's flip it, let's flip it, let's flip it. You know what I mean? They tried to put as much food on this grill as they possibly could and just grill the out of it and flip the out of it.
You couldn't handle this.
I couldn't handle it? Well, did you try the steak? The only good thing really was the salad, because it didn't go on the grill.
Becky returned to the Victoria Hotel after putting our kids to bed and all that. She needed to get back into what we'd been doing, which was like drinking all day. We left Leah and Alex because they had to go to work the next day. We hopped in a cab and we went to the Factory X Christmas party. The Factory X Christmas party was like apparently like a lot of people's social event of the year.
We didn't realize the magnitude of this party until we got there.
They throw it in this big complex of houses which are down by this river, and they have this like completely debaucherous party. People in the pool and people passed out all over the place. People dancing and like several bars and like champagne flowing. It's like a 80s LA house party.
It's like those things that you hear about, and then once you're there, you're like, this exists? Really? How did we get here? It's pretty interesting to take 3 days of your life and just sort of like go off the edge, you know, and just lose it and come back, because it creates for really, really interesting experiences. Becky was having a fantastic time as well. We definitely got her in trouble. We kept her out a little too late that night, but it was like icing on the cake as far as like party goes. It was really the ultimate party weekend, and why not end it with the greatest house party you've ever been to, you know?
Do people party hard here?
No.
Monday was a great day. It was exactly what you need to do after 3 days of heavy drinking. We slept in a bit, and then we went to Amanda's beach box.
Amanda had been talking about it all weekend. It was like something that she wanted to do with us, and it was something that was very much her Melbourne. Ever since she was young, she brought friends there, family, had parties there. The plan was to get some fish and chips. Raph and Becky and the kids were coming down, have a couple of beers, watch the sun go down. We were hanging out with our new friends in Melbourne, swimming in the sea, which is something I always loved.
It was one of those moments where it's like, we are lucky bastards. This is her favorite place in all of Melbourne, and we just had the craziest party weekend with some amazing people. Now we're just sitting watching this gorgeous sunset at this beach box. It was just perfect. I love my time in Melbourne, and I did not expect to at all. It's all about Orpin. It all comes back to her. Beci herself is just like salt of the earth, amazing person. She is super well connected and brought us to all of her friends. We met so many awesome people.
Beci thinks with her eyes. She's got a very visual mind, and she took us to things that interest her and inspire her to do the work that she does. She's really successful, she's really good at what she does, and she has a great family and a really nice home environment. One of the things I was thinking about hanging out in this household, hanging out with this family all weekend, was the future and having a house and having kids. And it's nice to see like someone who's making it work in a certain way, which is really appealing and seems like a lot of fun.
And I think I got over my bug a little bit.
What's your bug?
Well, I don't know. I'm like afraid of kids, or I was. But you just gotta hang out with kids. It's the first time I really hung out with kids in like 4 days straight. And they're great, man.
So a lot of people, when we asked them what they liked about it, they said Melbourne to me is like family.
It feels just big enough for it to be a city, but small enough that it does have a family or community kind of feel. I really do like that, yeah.
In Melbourne, the people are very familiar to me in a way. They are very similar to the Irish. Very sociable, very talkative. All of Beci's friends that we met were very friendly, but also the strangers were pretty friendly.
We partied really hard, but in a great way. It was like fun party. And then there was moments of relaxation. There were the barbecues and the family time. It was like a perfect balance of enjoying yourself peacefully and enjoying yourself where you lose your mind.
I had some silly prejudice about Australia, and I think as soon as you go to a place, you realise that prejudices are for the most part silly. We've got good food, they've got good coffee, good Australian wines. It's really multicultural, nice art scene. They've got a pretty neat and tidy little society there.